Hey, Justin Rhodes here again, the permaculture chickens guy. If you haven't seen it yet, check out my last video. It was on the 3 major reasons of why to get chickens, or in other words, what chickens can do for you. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to get started with chickens and keeping them alive and happy. So let's just get right in. First of all, you need supplies. And let's think about timing first. When you're going to start off with chicks, let's go ahead and start off in the spring. Why? Because look at nature. When does nature give birth? When does nature hatch chicks? It's in the spring. Probably because it's warm, there's plenty of food available. Now, let's get in. What do you need? Okay, the first thing you need for keeping chicks, I would say, is a brooder. I like to use probably a 2-foot wide by 4-foot long plastic bin. You can pick this up at Target. It's probably 1.5 feet tall. And then I fill that up with pine shavings, and you can get that at your feed store or farm store. I give it about 8 inches, and that way the chickens can manure in there. That carbon material absorbs that. It keeps it sanitary. And by the way, if you start getting any smell, you just need to add in more shavings. And then you need to get a waterer and feeder. For this situation, I like the small ones, the plastic ones that can attach to a mason jar. You can get those at your feed store. They're so inexpensive, they're like $3, and it's plenty enough to get you started for both your feed and water. Then go ahead and put a dirt trap underneath these. It could be just a square-foot piece of cardboard that you put over your shavings, and then you put your water and feeder on there. Or you could do something a little more advanced. Is what I do is I take, maybe a 1-foot square piece of 1/2 inch wire mesh and mount it to a wooden frame that's at about 1 inch thick, and then I put that over a feed pan, and I bury that feed pan down into the wood shavings, and then chickens jump up there, and that wood shavings falls down into that feed pan instead of into their food and water. Now, something else you might need, and I'll say might because if you're keeping your chickens inside at room temperature, they're probably not going to need a heat lamp. But the way you're going to know if they need a heat lamp is they're going to be bundling up together. A chicken's biggest priority when it's a chick is to stay warm. It's not going to eat or drink unless it's warm. So if they're bundling up together, not eating and drinking, you need to put a heat lamp on them. And then once you put that lamp off, if they're still bundling together, you need to lower it, but don't go any closer than 18 inches to them or any flammable surface. The other thing I do when I go to bed, I don't like to keep that heat lamp on. It could be a fire hazard. So I get a small cardboard box and put it over the chicks, and that acts as mother hen. That the little chicks can cuddle together, and their body heat keeps each other warm. Now, as the chickens grow and become adults, you're going to need a few more things. You're going to need a house for them. And I'm going to show you how to do that in my next video. I'm going to give you 2 amazing options. Then you're going to need a dust bath. Again, I use a plastic container for this, a 17-gallon one. It's about 2 feet tall, 2 feet wide. It's about 2-foot cube, really. And you fill that up halfway with fill dirt, and then go the extra mile and put in a couple of scoops of what you call food-grade diatomaceous earth. Again, you can pick that up at your feed store. That helps kill any mites or anything that get on them. They're not taking baths to look good. They're taking baths to get that mites off of them. So then you need a fence. I like electric mobile netting. I get mine from Premier One. I've used that since the beginning. I've had no reason to replace it. Works great. You need an energizer for that fence to make it hot. You can get those energizers and the fence directly from Premier One. Just go ahead and Google that, or get them at your feed store. Now, I don't know if your feed store will carry the fence, but it will carry the energizer. Now, we're ready for chickens. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to give you 3 of the most popular and productive chicken breeds. One is the black Australorp. That's the kind I have. Then the Rhode Island Red and the Barred Rock. Those are going to be readily available, and they're going to give you at least 4 eggs a day. They're going to be happy and productive. They're just going to be beast mode on your farm, man. It's going to be hard to go wrong with any of those chickens, okay? So now let's think about timeline. How does all this come to fruition? Okay, if you want to do this in one weekend, say, go ahead early on in the week, go ahead and order your supplies or go and pick them up. Maybe Friday after work, go ahead and set everything up. And then Saturday, preferably, you're going out to your local breeder to pick them up. If you can't do a local breeder, that's obviously the best choice. Searching for your local breeder on Sustainable Poultry Network or on Craigslist. Why? Because you get that local support. The birds don't get transferred in the mail. That can be stressful for them. And you're just going and picking them up. So then you bring those chicks home. They go into that brooder, let's say for about 3 weeks. okay? And then they're ready to go outside. That is, if it's warm, another reason to raise them in the spring. I transition them outside in what I call a chicken tractor. I'm going to tell you more about that in the next video. So the next milestone is pretty far away, and I would say that's at 18 weeks. And if you've bought chickens and you don't know if they're male or female, so you've bought a straight run, you didn't buy just hens, at 18 weeks, it's time to butcher the roosters. You'll know who's roosters and who not. They'll be starting crowing. Their little red thing on the top of their head, that comb, will be more developed, and that will give you such a juicy, you can cook that meat really quickly, and you'll be ready to go for that meat. So the next milestone is even further away, and I would say that's at about 5 months you might get your first egg. And buddy, when you get that first egg, you're gonna be so excited. You're gonna run inside, jumping up and down. You're gonna post that on picture. You don't care that the egg's so tiny, and don't worry that it's so tiny. They're just so young starting laying. And don't worry if it doesn't happen right away. Some chickens take 9, maybe even 10 months to begin laying. Your next mile marker is way far away. At the 2-year mark, go ahead and get some more baby chicks, enough to replace your entire, the old ladies. I'll talk about that in just a second. So at that 2.5 year, well, 2.25 year mark, so in the fall of that second year, you're gonna wanna go ahead and cull your old ladies. Yes, it's sad, those original ladies. Cull them. By cull, I mean butcher them and put them on your plate. In a roast, you have to cook that meat slow. So make a roast or a soup, or you can cull them. If you just don't do that, maybe you don't eat chickens, go ahead and sell them or give them away. Why? Because their egg production has been cut in half. And if you're a serious homesteader and you're really wanting to grow your own food, that's not a good deal. So pass them on. There's plenty of people that will want to keep them as pets or anything like that, or better yet, put them on your plate. So now, to keep them alive, happy, and well, there are 4 essentials. Number 1, clean water. I learned this from Pat Foreman when we went and saw her. She said, is that water clean enough for you to drink? If it's clean enough for you to drink, it's clean enough for your chickens, and it's gonna go a long way in keeping them healthy. Second is good food, an organic, non-GMO mix if you can, and then just providing as much live foods as possible. And I'm gonna talk more about that in my next video, how to provide some of your own really nutritious, inexpensive food from your own land. Then the third thing I would say is the essential is the sunshine. And let's go ahead and throw fresh air in there. Sunshine is nature's sanitizer. And then that fresh air will also help keep sanitization up. And make sure you're giving them enough room. So at least 3 square foot per bird, and they'll get plenty of sunshine, plenty of fresh air. Now, predator proof. By all means, that's going to be your worst problem for getting killed chickens, okay? So there are 3 things you can do to pretty much 95% of your predator problem. Number 1, put them up at night and let them out in the morning. Most of my predator attacks have when I've gone out late to put them up or I forgot, okay? And then make sure your coop doesn't have more than 1 inch opening anywhere. The predator cannot get through to that. And then you want to get an electric fence and put it around that. So that's like your double barrier. And that's probably even 99% of your predator problems. Now, there may be 3 things you're thinking at this point. I already know this. Well, hang on. My next video, I guarantee you, I'm gonna teach you something new. And I'm also gonna talk how you can find out more from me, more advanced things like even hatching your own chicks or butchering or putting them on your plate. Now, you might also be thinking, this sounds expensive. This is crazy. Now, if you're willing to do a lot of this yourself, you can easily get started for under $300. Did you hear me? I mean, $300. And how are you gonna put a value on that when you're growing your own meat? You're putting your chickens to work for you. You're growing your own eggs, and you're getting that satisfaction of growing your own feed. What is that worth? And now you might be thinking, this is just too hard. This just sounds much too hard. Well, I'm telling you, I promise you, my daily chores take me less than 10 minutes. That includes feeding them, that includes letting them out in the morning and putting them up. Heck, my son, my 6-year-old son will go out there and collect their eggs. It is not too hard. Now, quick tip, quick takeaway. Down below, I've included some bonuses, some stuff for you to download and print out. I want you to go ahead and download that and print it out. That's going to be your game plan. You might not be ready to start, but that's your game plan. In the previous video, we came up with a goal. We came up with how many eggs we want a week, how many chickens we're going to need to get. Now we're printing out the game plan to get us started so that when we're ready, it's there and ready to go. Please leave your comments, questions below. In my next video, it's really exciting. We're talking bootstrap chickens. We're talking about do it yourself, inexpensive mobile chicken housing to feeding your chickens 100% from the land. No cost to you. So stay tuned. It's coming soon.